Hey everyone, either welcome back or welcome to my channel. Today's video, I'm going to be talking about how I dealt with a long diagnosis. So let's get into the video. Hello everyone, and welcome to my world. Hello, my name is Ashley Stewart, and welcome to my YouTube channel. So, 2018 was actually a pretty hard year for me. It was also a pretty good year too. I finished my bachelor's degree in biochemistry, but that's not important for this channel. What is important, though, is I was diagnosed with a rare condition called idiopathic intracranial hypertension, or IIH. Some of you may also know it by its older name called pseudotumor cerebri. Yeah, quite a mouthful. If you're curious to learn more about what it's like to live with this rare condition, then I encourage you to watch on. Don't forget to subscribe, and I publish new content every Monday and Thursday afternoon. Because IIH is a rare illness, there is sometimes often a long diagnosis process that often takes place when you're diagnosed with this condition. I know that I've talked about this in my diagnosis story. My diagnosis story continues to blow me away as to how many people have enjoyed that video and how many people have watched that video, because there's a lot of diagnosis stories on YouTube. So, to be quite honest with you, I was quite hesitant to even do a diagnosis story starting my channel on YouTube, because there are already so many diagnosis stories on YouTube. I'm like, there is no way this thing is going to do well. Yeah, it's double the views as the rest of my videos pretty much. I'm glad I did it, but I want to talk a little bit about my feelings as to why I think I sometimes struggle with having a really long drawn out diagnosis. And now it seems like this has been really playing on my mind, because it feels like the same thing is happening with having a really long time trying to find a treatment plan that works for me too. If you guys have watched that diagnosis story, which probably a lot of you have by this point on my channel if you're watching this video right now, unless this is the first time you're clicking on this video, which in this case, definitely check out my diagnosis story at the end of this video if you're interested. That video is quite rough compared to this video, and it's because it was the third video on my channel. But a lot of you do seem to quite enjoy that video. It is quite accumulated the watch time, at least. I guess I did a okay job telling a story, so thank you for watching that video, and I'm glad you guys have enjoyed that. As I talked about a little bit in that diagnosis story, I went over this in a bit of an overview because I wanted to focus on the process from May through to September, when we actually kind of got in a direction on which to go for getting a diagnosis originally, or I guess when I was actually in the hands of my family physician rather than doctors who thought I was only under stress from school, which there was no doubt I was under stress from school. That I wasn't even questioning. I told them, I'm just like, yes, absolutely, I'm under stress from school. I'm in my last semester. I'm in danger of failing 2 of my classes because I've been sick since the end of January. And the fact that I'm feeling terrible. I knew at the end of March last year that something more was up than stress. However, by the time it got to that point, I was so fed up with everything that I just wanted to get through exams and get home. And that's truly how I was feeling about it. Do I wish I would have pushed things a little bit farther with the dizziness clinic? Because I had been referred to a dizziness clinic, and I actually had an appointment set up because I was really dizzy. My biggest symptoms, because I've actually looked on my Facebook and looking over it again, I kind of probably did it to myself, to be quite honest with all of you. After looking at that, I was focused on 1 or 2 symptoms that I believe were a symptom of the general problem and not the main symptoms. I think it was just the way it was presenting itself.
I don't really think that this was a matter of I was just presenting in a weird way anymore. I think it was really, I was too focused on it being the possibility of one thing and not being completely out of thinking it could be anything. And that's probably what ultimately delayed my diagnosis. I think, anyways, looking back on it now, because I left out the fact that my double vision's driving me crazy. My headaches are terrible. I'm dizzy all the time. I'm nauseous all the time. Looking back on it now, it seems so obvious, but it wasn't then. And actually, interesting. I went to the clinic at the university the one time, and they had tested my prolactin levels because they thought it could be a brain tumor. And because my prolactin levels came back only slightly elevated and not severely elevated, they're like, well, she's like, I think it's just stress. I don't know if they just didn't think about it because I wasn't as heavy at that time. At the time I was at the clinic, I weighed 71 kilograms, which I will put up the weight in pounds on the bottom of the screen. I'm still about 10 pounds away from that now. So you can see how much weight I gained from the time I was seen to the time, this was I believe I was weighed in February. So I may have even gained weight before I seen her then. It was a fast weight gain when I did have the weight gain, which I find really interesting. I truly think, which is what I want this video to be about, is the fact that I think I become impatient with the treatment because of the fact that I've had such a long diagnosis to begin with. So because it took so long to get that initial, we know that what's wrong with you now, we have an answer for your symptoms, and we know that this is an actual medical condition now, and it's not just stress. It's just been that much more difficult, I guess. Dealing with the long diagnosis was harder on me mentally, I guess, than anything. And I guess is probably what put me into the bad mood originally. I know that when I was originally considering, kind of more long-term goals originally for, when I wanted to be able to move on with stuff. And when I wanted to be able to move on with stuff, when I was told that you're going to be dealing with this for a while kind of thing, that was like, it was really, really disappointing, obviously, because it's like, oh, this isn't just going to be like something I'm dealing with for a few months and then it's going to go away. This could be a long time. And you're just not used to something like that when you're so used to like cold or flu viruses that are here for a week or two and they're gone, right? Or yes, having such a long drawn out diagnosis and then it taking so much longer, and then now having it take so much longer to find an ideal treatment plan has been even more difficult on me emotionally. And now I just talk myself through in the fact that this is going to get better. It's just a little bump in the road. You're exactly where you need to be. You have the people who are going to support you around you. And that's all that really matters. So stay positive. You're going to get through this and you're going to be fine. I guess it's just a matter of positive self-talk that is keeping me going. Asking myself those questions on why am I feeling this way? Why am I talking down to myself like this? What's the purpose of this? Why am I doing this to myself? Why make it worse than it already is, kind of thing. Like, there is no reason to make it that much harder on yourself than it needs to be. It just doesn't need to be that difficult. The hardest thing for me, though, with the long diagnosis has been the fact that it feels like you're delaying moving on with, I got this degree, I want to do something with it. Or, you get asked, well, like from people that you meet, well, what are you doing now? Or from people who haven't seen you in a while, well, What are you up to now? That was a little bit about dealing with a long diagnosis that I wanted to go over. Again, this is from my perspective. You guys may have more that you would like to contribute. If there is more that you would like to contribute because you had a long diagnosis, don't hesitate to drop down in the comments down below. I would love to hear your guys' story. Feel free to send me a message on social media if you're not comfortable doing that publicly. I completely understand. And don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you really enjoyed this video. And as for now, that's it for today. So, thanks for watching, and bye everyone!